Hello and happy Sunday to you, Angela. Merry Christmas. I hope that you and your family enjoyed your little jaunt out to Death Valley and are all now back home resting and recuperating for the week ahead. So I think Christmas is an interesting time, particularly for you and me, in that we're not overly Christian, if we are at all. And so these Christian holidays like Christmas or Easter and these kind of things don't really have the traditional meaning for us. But I think that Christmas, at least nowadays, has sort of developed its own American spin, its own Western spin, and has, for most people, I think it means much more than just the birth of baby Jesus. To be fair, for many it is about going to church, going to midnight mass, and praying and celebrating all these things. But for most of us, it's simply a family holiday. Um, One of my favorite things about America and being an American is that holidays here are more so excuses to get off work and to spend time with loved ones. Um, one of the few truly American holidays we have is Thanksgiving, and that was started, in the 17th century by Lincoln, I think, as simply a way to let people off work and to spend a weekend with their family. And I think for me, Christmas is simply a excuse to go home and spend time with my family. So Christmas in my household has kind of evolved over the years. When me, my brother, and my sister were much younger, we used to do the normal Christmas tree, wake up on Christmas morning, open Christmas presents, that sort of thing. But as we've gotten older and Christmas trees have become a bit of a hassle and presents have taken on more of the form of envelopes with money in them, we've kind of scaled down on what we do on Christmas. This Christmas in particular is a little different in that my sister is back in California, in San Francisco, with her person, and spending her Christmas up there rather than here with us. And so this Christmas, we kind of did a Jewish Christmas thing where we watched movies. We didn't actually go to the movie theater, as that would involve paying money, but we did watch a bunch of things on Netflix. Two very interesting things that I think I will tell you about right now. We watched Gnomeo and Juliet, the sort of Romeo and Juliet done with garden gnomes, lawn ornaments, these kind of things. Interesting. Um, it isn't quite Romeo and Juliet. They tweaked the story a little bit, obviously, to make it a little more happy, since Romeo and Juliet is a tragedy. But in terms of the jokes and the humor of it, it kind of reminded me of Shrek, a little irreverent, um, funny, funny, not a holiday classic, but funny, worth watching. The other movie that we watched was a Korean movie called Castaway on the Moon. It's on Netflix right now, so I suggest you go and watch it. I really enjoyed this movie a whole lot. It follows the story of one man who he's in a lot of debt, having borrowed lots of money and not being able to pay it off and this sort of thing. Tries to commit suicide by jumping off a bridge. The bridge is too close to the water, and so he doesn't actually kill himself and just washes up ashore on top of this sort of um, artificial island in the middle of a river. He can't really swim, so he can't get back, so he's kind of forced into these castaway situations. Um, and there's half the story is his sort of experience, he's living on this island in the middle of nowhere, and the other half of the story follows this woman, this shut-in, who, for whatever reasons, agoraphobia, whatever, she hasn't left her apartment in 3 years, and she has all these weird quirks, probably some mental problems. But her big thing is that she takes pictures. She enjoys taking pictures of the moon because there's no people on there. Um, Again, this agoraphobia type thing. And she does a lot of fantastical things. She imagines people around her are aliens and this kind of thing. And through her camera, her high-powered camera, she spots the man on the island, this castaway man, and so our story begins. And it's an interesting story, a very unique idea, and I suggest you give it a watch. We also watched The Troll Hunter, which is kind of like a Swedish version of the Blair Witch Project. The idea being that trolls, mythological or fantastical trolls, are real, and they have been around. They're just another type of animal. There's nothing really supernatural about them. Um, and they are in Scandinavia somewhere, I forget which country, and that all these explain natural disasters, bridges collapsing, trees falling down in weird patterns, are actually trolls that are roaming around the countryside. And it takes this documentary approach following this troll hunter who is in charge of keeping the troll population in check. And it kind of the Blair Witch thing, also running through the forest with bad camera angles. The only cool thing is that you actually see many trolls, unlike the Blair Witch Project. Interesting. Um, it's interesting. So if you're bored, I would watch it. Not a winner by any chance, but interesting. Interesting approach. Something else that's interesting that in this Troll Hunter movie is how they explain why trolls turn into stone when being exposed to sunlight, as is their supernatural weakness. They say it has something to do with vitamin D, in that they can't metabolize the vitamin D from sunlight, and it builds up in their body and calcifies their bones and something, 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 or builds up as gas in their stomach and makes them explode. Interesting. I don't think that's quite how vitamin D works, but it was a nice try at explaining something supernatural scientifically. Today I also took my brother to go play tennis. We're not good by any means, but we enjoy it. It's exercise, and it's a good chance to hit things with rackets. So here's some footage of me and my brother playing tennis. Hello, Angela. Merry Christmas to you. I'm here at Kaimuki Park with my brother playing tennis. Say hello.
Hi.
How do we do on tennis?
I'm really good, but he could use work.
Yeah, I lost 2 of the balls already.
You smell like copper.
I smell like copper too. Oh, it's all windy.
I drove.
He drove, so
I don't have my license though. But
he's learning how to drive, and I am his licensed guardian,
I guess.
licensed driver to accompany him.
Is this how you talk to her normally?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay.
How do you talk? How should I talk
Like
to her?
I don't know, like your normal voice.
This is.
Hello, Angela.
Hello. Hello.
That's not how you talk in real life.
What do I talk? This is my normal voice.
I don't know.
This is my I'm explaining things.
Yeah, that is. That's true.
My explaining things voice.
Hi, what's your name? Oh no, I know your name. Your name's Angela. My name is Carrie.
This is Carrie.
I am 18.
Where do you go to college?
I go to Occidental College in LA, I think. She lives in LA, right?
Yeah, it's relatively near where you live.
Where does she live?
She lives in LA.
Oh, right. Yeah, I go there.
It's very windy, so I think none of this audio is picking up.
Bye.
Bye. So to answer your question about the Magic School Bus, I honestly don't remember many Magic School Buses episodes. But I do remember a few very, very vividly. Partly because we had, I think, 2 or 3 different episodes on VHS. Yes, VHS, that blast from the past. And whenever we were sick or home for some reason, we would watch the Magic School Bus, as a supplement to the school we were missing. So my favorite Magic School Bus, or at least the one I remember the most vividly, is the one where they get baked into a cake. Perhaps this might also be the reason why I like baking and cooking, is that Magic School Bus had an impact on me from early on. But my favorite one, and the one I remember the most, is the baking the cake one. So, as the movie Castaway, as well as Castaway on the Moon, has shown us, in that there are 2 types of survival if you find yourself stranded somewhere. There's a physical survival, simply keeping yourself alive. But there's also a mental survival component, keeping your mind intact and your sanity, with you throughout the entire process. And so my question for you today is sort of a spin on the deserted island game, in that which 3 items would you bring with you to ensure your physical survival, and what 3 items would you bring with you to ensure your mental survival? You can budget this number, it's just a general guideline. So that was my question for you. 6 items, physical and mental survival. So I think that's it for now. I hope you had a very Merry Christmas, and I will see you tomorrow.